So I wanted to welcome everybody to tonight's call. My name is Paul Newson. I'm going to be your host for this evening or today, depending on which time zone that you're in. And we are super excited and grateful to be able to share with you this whole topic around narcissists, the damage that they're doing to relationships, but more importantly, how you can move beyond that and begin to create better relationships in your life. And this has become such a huge global issue, especially here in Australia, but also too, especially with the Donald Trump campaign that we saw. I think Donald Trump brought narcissism to the surface, especially in the States and globally. And we know a lot of people are probably wondering, what is a narcissist? What do they do? What are the effects? What are the damages? How do you avoid it? Am I with one? Have I been with one? Do I keep attracting them? And that's specific what we're going to be covering tonight. And the couple that I'm going to be introducing have literally been defying the odds when it comes to changing the way that women attract partners into their life. And if you're sitting here, you've already seen some of the videos that they've released through social media, all across the internet. They have gone viral. It has become one of the world's greatest topics and literally becoming a really big problem around the globe. So I'm going to introduce you to these really special people. They've become friends of mine. We've been working together now for over 4 years. And they have gone on to help over 5,000 people globally, helping them to redefine what it means to attract, a perfect partner and eliminate toxic relationships. Britta and Scott are a beautiful couple from Australia. Britta herself, an amazing story. So she literally hit rock bottom at the age of 15. She went through a whole bunch of trauma from the death of her grandmother, the betrayal of her best friend. She was one of those girls that she just felt lonely and bullied at school. And when she left school, she fell into her first narcissistic relationship at the age of 18, not even knowing what that was. And then from there, she left that and was invited to work in one of the biggest television networks here in Australia. And while she had her dream job, she had everything going on for her, she was still recovering from the damage that a narcissistic relationship can create. So brokenhearted, confidence was destroyed and shattered. And in her own words, she said she literally started dating anybody that would show interest to her due to her low self-confidence. And she buried herself in her work. At the age of 23, she bought her car, she bought a house, but she began to realize that she was missing that one thing that was important, which was true love. And moving on from there, she had 3 beautiful children, but she found herself just attracting that same narcissistic pattern of abuse and toxic type of relationships. And that's when she really began to decline again. And at that sort of young age, she was introduced to a healer. And for her, in her own words, and we'll let Britta speak in a minute, she was able to begin to change the way she saw things. And then from there, she was able to meet the love of her life, which is the other chap on this call, which is a guy by the name of Scott and Britta. And if you're here, you've seen his videos. He likes the camera. He likes to be the one talking. And, Scott has come from the background of first and foremost, he was raised by a narcissistic father, so that's a big deal. And from that sort of training, if you will, he began to attract narcissistic relationships. In fact, he even went into the police force to try and create some sort of justice in the world, and ended up helping women in domestic violence. And from there, his passion has gone on to help women all over the world. He's become a leading coach in the field of narcissism, how to attract great relationships. He's been doing that for over 10 years. And when Britta and Scott met, it was kind of like that chemistry. They both come from backgrounds. They were both healed enough to realize that they wanted to move forward and create something special together. And together, they now live very, very happily here in Australia. They've got 6 kids. We call them the Brady Bunch. And they've become literally an inspiration to thousands of women all over the world. In fact, you've probably seen the reams and reams and reams of testimonials of women who are beginning to move forward, reclaim their power, and create fantastic relationships. And together they've created Relationship Warrior, and they've pledged to literally help millions of women around the world attract the love that they deserve. So I wanted to say hello and welcome to Scotty and Britta.
Hi everybody.
Hi, thanks Paul.
Thanks for those nice words, Paul. That was beautiful. Thank you.
That's my
We just
pleasure.
need our Alice.
Yeah, we just need a maid. Everyone knows a good maid. Bring them. Alice, if you're still around, come and work for us.
Oh, fantastic. And actually, you were also, I didn't put this down, you were actually also the founding members of the Transformational Leaders of Australia group, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, which is a beautiful organisation where we help people and improve the high consciousness around the world. And we all come from different areas, from directors to humanitarian, to all sorts of walks in life. And it's amazing to be in that group of that realm of energy. And yeah, it's simply amazing. And we do work all around the world, so it's really cool.
That's amazing. Well, look, probably the biggest thing that I'm interested in, I know a lot of the people that are watching this, a lot of people are wondering, what is a narcissist? How do I know if I've been affected by one? What sort of things do I experience? And I want to get into that. But I think something amazing to talk about first would be just how did you both meet and how did you decide to create Relationship Warrior?
That's an interesting story because we actually met each other down the beach. We live at Noosa in Australia. I don't know if anyone's been to Noosa in Australia. It's the most beautiful spot. And Britta came up to me one day and said, would you like my children? As a bit of a joke, because her children was mucking up, and I was falling asleep and I woke up and I looked at these three children. She said it as a joke. I didn't realise that Britta's son was actually in the same class as my son. So we had two of our children the same age in the same class at school. And then we met her at another time when you said, can you look after my son while she went shopping? I went surfing with her son and my son. And that's how it kind of started. And then I'm a big manifester and I love manifesting. And I said, okay, I'm ready for a relationship. And 3 months before that, I said, I'm universe, creator, I want to bring this most amazing woman who can work with me, because Paul, I was working with women a lot. So that's all I specialize in is women. So to find someone who would understand me working with women all day, every day, I need someone who's in my space, who really wanted to go on that journey. And I put it out there and I wrote down exactly what I wanted. And, basically 3 months, I'm like, okay, when's she coming? And I got invited to a barbecue. And at that time I was looking after my mum full-time as well, as a full-time carer for my mum, and working from home. And there was Britta again. Our friend had introduced me to Britta. And we kind of hit it off from there. So we just kind of,
But the interesting thing was, Paul, we didn't realise we went to the same doctors. We had the same mechanic service our cars.
Yep.
Our kids were surfing together. And we lived near each other, but we never really crossed paths properly. It wasn't until, I had a relationship breakdown and started doing even more deeper work on myself that then we actually crossed paths properly. And we hear this all the time with ladies that we do work with, the same thing with them. Some ladies have had, partners they have now, who they call their soulmates, and they've known them for 30 years. But again, it was like they had this big wall up in front of them and they couldn't actually see that beautiful love because they were so used to attracted to this distorted version of love. And then once we took them through the process, we took ourselves through and all the shifts and the self-love growing, then they messaged me, go, Britta, guess what? The guy from 30 years ago, he's connected with me again. And, he's my soulmate and he's beautiful. He treats me how I've always wanted to be treated. But I thought it was just, some fairy tale to meet someone like that. So it's really fascinating when you do that deep soul work, how the love of your life, your soulmate, life partner, can actually be right in front of you, but it can be from things that have happened from childhood throughout your life that actually attract what we call the Mr. Wrongs. So it's really fascinating, and that's what happened with us. So,
that's amazing.
Divine timing. I call it divine timing is what we call it. And it was, and that's how we started. And I was doing my work, Britta was doing her work. We're both coaching women. So we had this real, similar synergy. And together we started, I was telling how issues I was having with the clients, with my women clients, and Britta was doing the same thing. And from all the research and study that we have done together on our own, from our clients, we got to kind of work out, what was going on. And from all of that, those sessions and those coaching and counseling, we got to kind of look at and see these patterns. And those patterns is what helped us to make us realize that there's a calling for us. There's a calling for our expertise because we specialize in women. We could see the patterns as to why women always attracted the wrong men, right? We could see it completely. We knew the exact reason why. We also knew how to stop attracting those wrong men. So what we did is we replicated it basically in a formula, and we got together and we started helping women basically all around Australia, and then it just kind of went from there all around the world. So it's a beautiful area, and we honestly didn't know when we started up the demand, how big the demand was. It's mind-blowing. We are just inundated with people having this situation, and the most amazing thing is that we've been through that, we've gone through that, and we've survived that, we've thrived through that, and that's what we help women to do as well.
That's amazing.
We help teenage girls.
Wow.
Too.
Yeah.
So it was interesting because the high school that our boys started in, they, I said I'd love to go back and help teenage girls because that's when it really started affecting me back then. So it all aligned. It was really interesting. I had a phone call from the school and I mentioned the program we're doing, and I said, it would be awesome if we could help females younger from the teenage years. So that was our first big thing we did together, and it was awesome. We went into the high school I went to that I was bullied in, and we helped to transform other girls' lives as well, and it was beautiful.
Every week for one term, 8 weeks, it was 8 weeks, they go as the girls have the biggest issues, and we use that formula to be able to get these girls' lives back on track, and they're just flying now. So the school was like, wow, what do you guys do? This is amazing. We've never had this before. We've never had these results so quickly from anyone who's come to help our students. And we loved it. So, our passion is definitely the younger people, and also to helping women, at large. We're just loving our journey, and we're so blessed.
And it's never too late to go on that journey either.
78-year-old ladies, we work with them who want to find true love and stop attracting the wrong men. So it's really cool.
So what I'm really wondering, and I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this are wondering, is, some people will have been through this process. Some people might be beginning to seriously question that process, and some people might be completely unsure what a narcissist even is. So what's a narcissist? I mean, are they all bad people?
No, they're not, Paul. And the word term narcissist it's basically a trait. Okay, there is a disorder, but just the word narcissist is just a trait. It's someone's behavior. Now, the word, unfortunately, is used too loosely. Sometimes you'll hear a female saying, he sleeps behind my back, so he's a narcissist. Well, it's not true, right? There's a certain criteria that we need to evaluate and identify what is a narcissist. But in the day, we don't need to know exactly is a narcissist, because he could be having narcissistic behavior. And there's a big difference. As long as someone is acting in a narcissistic way, well, then obviously that's all we need to know. That's where we need to step in, and we need to stop that process. We need to stop that involvement and to help that person to heal. Now, like I said, it's a trait. So what we do is with women particularly, narcissism is an experience of someone who could be controlling. They could be very domineering. They come across as very grandiose. We call the word grandiose, where they're all about me. They're the life of the party. Look at me. They love bomb. They particularly like to, when they find their victim, they like to just smash them with love. And you ladies probably have experienced this before. And you're thinking, this is too good to be true. How can this is the most perfect male. Why is he treating me and spoiling me so much love and buying me gifts and doing this and doing that and wanting to move in and wanting to marry me within 3 months or 3 weeks, take me on honeymoons, take me overseas, and all this kind of stuff. And what happens is they're very manipulative. They're very controlling. It's part of their behavior to try and love bomb you. So when you do find out they are a narcissist, that you don't want to leave, or you got less inclined to want to leave that person.
Because you feel so attached. You feel like you've got the beautiful dream that you wanted, this amazing man, And then that's when these things start happening. When you notice the cracks start showing, that they start treating you with less respect. And then they make it seem like you're the one at fault. Like, oh, sorry, you feel like that. Yeah. But that's not what's happening. So then you start doubting yourself. You start thinking, well, maybe, is it me? Is it maybe I had a little bit too less sleep? Maybe it's something I'm doing. And you really start doubting yourself. And then it starts chipping away even more and more, to the point where it just becomes everyday life. But it's like you're starting to lose your soul more and more and more, until you completely lose who you are, because you're taking on this idea of what they're telling you of what you are, and thinking that there's things wrong with you. And they can even be controlling when it comes to money, give you a limit per week, or they can even, when they shower you with all these gifts and presents in the start, it's actually a big debt they've taken on. And then once they've got you trapped, you feel like, or you've gone through it, that you've taken on this massive debt as well. And it's soul destroying, and you don't realize at first, until you feel like it's gone so deep and you're so in love with this person that you do everything to make it work, and even start changing your behavior. Sometimes you lose contact with your friends, because your friends will see what's going on, so you tend to hide from friends, even family. You really start, and sometimes these narcissistic guys as well, or females, they can get you to move away from family and friends, so they have more control, so you feel more isolated as well.
Yeah, there's different extremes, and what the last bit she said is an extreme, and they'll get you to move away from where you are, take away from your family, have complete control. Hey, you don't have to work anymore. I'll do all the work, and you stay at home. So they really want you to be submissive and stay at home. And while they go out and work, they have very tight restraints on who you can see, what you can do. And, they're very controlling, get very jealous. So that's a broad spectrum, Paul, of kind of what it is. There's more to it than that, but that kind of gives you a bit of idea of the behaviours that. And
you can be a powerful businesswoman as well. So you may be the one working all the time, and they could be the one at home more. And you're constantly funding, ideas they have, which really aren't ideas. It's just them, making sure that you have to keep working your butt off to basically fund whatever they're getting up to in the background. So
that's great. I was going to ask you that. I was like, surely there are successful women out there that are definitely in the face that. What I'm curious about though is what are the telltale signs? Like, where has a narcissist come from? Like I said, are they all bad people? Are they people that just need to heal themselves? Like, what's the telltale breeding ground that creates somebody with this type of behavior?
Look, it can be multiple, but common theme could be that they were controlled. They had a narcissistic mother or father in their life, and because of that, they were controlled, and they get taught that control is the way to survive. It can be that they had might have been a narcissist father. It could be they were abused. It could be that they come from a very successful family, and that they have a world of privilege, and that you are in control, and money speaks, power speaks, and that's how you need to survive and thrive. That's how you need to be able to act around women and in business. It can come from multiple different ways. There is, it's not, we just don't want to typecast it, because it can be from anywhere, but that's kind of some really good examples of where they come from. And they just carry that forward. Now, to answer your question, there's most narcissists do not actually know that they're actually doing their behavior. They don't want to accept it. They don't want to acknowledge that. And they just do it through the subconscious mind. It's part of their belief systems, right? And then you've got the percentage that actually 100% know what they're doing and are very premeditated. They know that they need to have this behavior to survive. Most of the cases, anyhow, they always deny and just, pretend it's acceptable, and will always stay in that space because that's just the way it is. Right. And that's why they do not like to be confronted. And when they're confronted, the whole world falls apart. They become very vulnerable. And when they become very vulnerable, they lose their control. They lose their ability to survive. Hence why they can become very aggressive. Okay. And just on that, when a narcissist meets a really strong, empowered woman, say, for example, he works as a sales manager, and his CEO is a really strong woman, they are very meek. They become very passive. So they know their place when there's a stronger woman who's in charge. But quite often, they'll either become that submissive person their entire life when it comes to that work environment, or they'll leave that job because they'll want to find a boss that's not so controlling. So it's very interesting.
That's very interesting for
and
sure.
People may ask, well, how can a successful woman attract this type of guy? And what we've found is it stems back from, the ladies we have who are very successful. They are so successful when it comes to work, but when it comes to their private life, that's where they struggle due to things that have gone on in the childhood. They may not have received the love that their heart desired. They could have been abused. So when it comes to business, they're awesome. They can rock it, no problem. But it's their personal life that needs help, and hence why they attract narcissists, because it could be the love that they've been used to, or they just want to feel loved and supported as well.
Perfect, got it. And so what I'm seeing with you guys, and I've seen it a lot, is you've really hit on a nerve, especially here in Australia, and it's going global. And I know for a fact, you guys have talked to me about this, you've got people in your client database who have studied for years, paid massive amounts of money in education and university fees. They've got doctorates. In fact, they're psychiatrists, psychologists. So what I want to know is, out of all the people that anyone could go and talk to, psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors, you name it, why you? What makes Relationship Warrior and Scotty and Britta different? Now I can hear the experience, that's very clear. That's very, very clear. But what's the fundamental difference? And why would somebody come to you?
Yeah, it's interesting because we're kind of like the last resort in a lot of cases. And ideally, we would like it to be the first resort. But a lot of people will use traditional channels like psychologists and counselors and social workers, light workers, if you do that, couch coaching, you name it, right? And we've never had one person ever work with those people and then tell us that they've actually solved the problem. Otherwise, they would be on a call with us. And it's really interesting because I got a lot of friends.
Wait, before you go any further, what's the problem? What's the actual problem?
The problem is the mainstream, or the counselors and psychologists, they're not identifying the source of the problem. Now, it's kind of like going to a mechanic and saying, my car's not working, well, it's stopped. And then the mechanics just can't find the problem. If you can't find the source of the problem, how can you have a solution? And they're not identifying what the main reasons is as to why people are doing it. And they just kind of give them strategies. They are helping them. Don't get me wrong, I love my fellow friends that do the work, and they're beautiful people, because everyone who works in that space and helping someone, to me, is amazing. But they just don't understand it properly. And you go on YouTube, a lot of people talk about, with millions of hits about, what's narcissism, what's NPD, what's this, what's that, which is great. But none of them know how to stop attracting them, because they don't understand why women do that. And because we've had the luxury, and I've actually been with over 5,000 women on this very subject, we've got to realise the patterns. We've got to realise why women are doing this. And because of this, we've been able to work out a solution or formula on targeting that exact problem, targeting it so we can fix a solution for good. And we get amazing success with our clients. And we've never had anyone, I've never seen anyone around the world, and this sounds like we're being egotistical, but we're not. I've never known anyone around the world that can say they can help women to stop attracting narcissistic men.
So what you're saying is, if I'm hearing this correctly, you're saying that the problem is, the bottom line of problem is it's the attraction process. So a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a counselor will help them work with the effects of it all. But what you guys specialize in is the attraction process in the first place.
Correct. Yeah.
And yes, why it is happening, because consciously it's completely different what we're aware of, what's really been going on, and it can stem back to childhood most of the time. So we get to that very root core problems and help ladies to release it, and that's where they haven't healed in the past, because they've spoken about things, they've done different methods to release it, but they still have that pain, they still have that trauma, and every time they talk about it, they're triggered and get emotional. So that's how we know ladies have healed from it, because they can then talk about it without those trigger points anymore.
Yeah, and once you find out so that the root source of the problem, then it changes, like you said, Paul, the attraction levels. It changes the whole energy and the vibration of attracting. And then it's no mistake that when they, remove those things, or the source of the problem that's actually causing this, once we do that, well, then they start attracting different types of men nearly instantly. The moment we go to the root source of the problem and we fix it, we remove the problem, they start attracting more love, better quality men, more abundance, more everything, because their vibration changes. The attraction level is completely turned around on its head. And that's the big difference. And unfortunately, our other colleagues who psychologists and that, they don't understand this. They don't get it. They're not trained how they're doing it. It's not part of the curriculum. And that's the reason why we're so successful in this area.
And we've gone through it ourselves. We've used the techniques that we take the ladies through to change the cycle that we kept attracting, to change our life as well. So we've actually personally gone through it. And that's what inspired us so much to help everyone, because it doesn't matter how much support you have from family or friends, no one can really help you fix those deep inner problems. And that's the thing. I felt the loneliest, but I had such loving family. And then when I got to the very core of my problems, that's what started changing everything. But it's just being able to identify it so you can. And unfortunately, most of the time, family and friends can't.
Yeah, we all the time, people get advice from people that do not know the answer. They give them the wrong advice. 99.9999% of the population is getting the wrong advice on how to stop attracting narcissistic partners. So,
yeah, I'm hearing that, and what I'm really hearing is, and I just said it before, like I'm really hearing that you guys are working at the source of who we attract, whereas a lot of other people, like we talked about, professionals, are working on how to cope with the damage. So there's a clear distinction here of, well, sure, we can work with the damage and we can help you to work with it or whatever, but you're saying, which is what I'm really hearing here, and this is kind of like revolutionary, you guys are saying, well, hang on a minute, why focus on living with it? Why not just create something different, which is phenomenal. Now, this brings me to my next question, and Britta, I'm especially excited to hear your take on this, because you've been through it, you're a woman, and you guys work with women, is knowing this. So we look at your background. So you got to the point where you realized that it was you personally that was attracting narcissists or toxic relationships. And I'm sure that everybody that's watching this has probably seen that movie called The Secret, or they've heard of, quote unquote, law of attraction. We know attraction exists. We attract each other. There's no doubt. Let's be clear about that. What I'm really wanting to know though, Britta, like bottom line is why would somebody, what are they dealing with, or either consciously or unconsciously, what type of traits or personalities or healing challenges is going to attract that type of person? Because I can imagine someone sitting here, they're looking at this, like I'm imagining this myself, going, well, if I'm attracting narcissists, what is it within me that's doing that? So what's your experience on that, and what would you say?
Yeah, because of course we never say, oh, I want a guy who's going to treat me bad, or, I deserve that, or I want that. It's, going on subconsciously. And it, from my personal experience, it was due from lack of self-worth, I believe. I thought I had strong self-love and self-worth, but obviously I didn't, because I would always see the best in people, which is an awesome trait. But you've also got to take off those, you call them, the blinkers as well. You've got to see people for who they are as well. So I would keep on making excuses for the way someone was. It could be because they had a hard day or they're stressed about money. But it was, when I look at the overall, in the future, when I look back, it was actually these traits that they had, and that was wearing me down more and more and more. And then because I was so used to that pattern, it's like I started attracting this distorted version of love all the time from that, because that's how I was used to being treated. So as you said earlier, yes, if a guy come up and talk to me, show me attention, I would give them a chance. I'd go on a date with them, and I didn't really have the bar. Like I think, oh, nice guy, give him a chance. And, and then I realized that there were these traits that were starting to happen when I look back now. At the time, I didn't. I just thought, oh, the honeymoon period ends at 3 months' time. That's how a relationship is. You just got to suck some of these things up when it comes to a relationship. But it's a lot more than that now, as I learned that it is, very damaging. And that's not what pure love is meant to be.
And so what have you found, in both of your experiences, because obviously, Britta, you've been through it. Scott, you've been through it also, in a different format, but it's the same thing. You've both worked with so many women. What do you find, maybe number one or two or three things, if you just break it down, what's missing or broken in somebody that creates that attraction process to toxic relationships or narcissists? What's the broken's probably the wrong word, but I'm sure you know what I mean. What is it? Is it, you just talked about confidence, self-worth, trauma? What's the bottom line here? Like, why or how in somebody is that attracting that type of relationship?
Yeah, because it really comes back down. We always trace it back every time we speak to someone, speak to a client. We go back to their childhood, which is really important. And from the childhood, we really get to see what trauma happened. And it could be something that was very traumatic, for example, child abuse, or it could be something where it could be a divorce. It could have been mother or father, not giving the time and attention. It could be feeling rejected, feeling abandoned. We even had one client, which is really interesting. Her biggest issue was abandonment and rejection. And that was because her mother took her to a hospital over in Europe, which was young, and they couldn't stay with her. And they were living, I think, about a 4-hour drive away, and they had to come back the next day. And they left her there for the not for the operation. And she had the most amazing, loving relationship with her parents, and still does. But unfortunately, that experience was enough for her to feel massive trauma, massive rejection, massive abandonment when she felt the most vulnerable. Now, for her, that was the major reason, right? Other ladies, it's different. It doesn't matter where it comes from, but there's that.
It can be they need to be wanted. And that's one thing we want ladies not to feel a need. It's, you may want to feel wanted, but when you need, that comes from a place of neediness and a lower vibration. So we have a lot of ladies who have always fixed men. So they've attracted these men they want it fixed because they feel important. It makes them feel like, they're
validated.
Yeah, validated. That's it. And that's huge. So many women attract these men because they want to feel validated.
So it's even their love language, becomes their love language. Well, if I could help someone, I feel good about myself. Again, coming back from childhood because of, trauma, right? So to make them feel like they got control, to make them feel good about themselves because they've had that trauma their whole lives and they don't feel like they're worthy. They feel worthy when they actually, and validate when they help someone. I'm going to fix people from now on because that makes me feel good. We're taught as young to help people because it makes you feel good, And so they do this, and that gets that validation, and they then start, attracting these broken men, e.g., the narcissist. So we have the women who are basically the unhealed because there's all this trauma and toxicity from their childhood. And then they're attracting the men, the narcissists that are unhealed. And what's happening is that's where that perfect synergy of attraction comes. So they're attracting the wrong people, but they're actually technically attracting the right people because they're programmed a certain way to attract that kind of man or that kind of relationship. And that's kind of where it gets interesting, really interesting. But we dive all the way back. I mean, we unearth all the issues that's caused you to have these insecurities and limitations and feelings of rejection, abandonment, or whatever it may be. There's hundreds of limiting beliefs that you can have, right? And this creates your energy, and your energy creates your attraction levels. If that makes sense.
But we do it in a less traumatic way. So we don't make the beautiful ladies who come to us sit in that trauma anymore. They've spoken about it enough. They've sat in it. They've gone over it and over it. And, you know, it's just been very painful. So the process we take them through is a very loving process. And it's a very quick process to shift it out. And then not only by shifting that out does it change what they start attracting in men, it's a whole life transformation. So they find, you know, they might have narcissistic friends as well, bosses, they might have family members as well. So, you know, with certain people, they can't just get them out of their life, but with the skills we teach them and how we get them to release things, they can deal with family members who are narcissistic without being shattered and have their energy sucked all the time. So it's really beautiful to see their lives transform in every single area, because it's not just about finding your dream partner. It's about really knowing who you are and becoming your own soulmate and have your own self-love and self-worth grow.
Yeah, we're all about quick straight away. Just don't stay in the energy. Quick, get out, heal, move forward. And, you know, again, difference to the psychologist and psychiatrist. I saw a psychiatrist, a forensic psychiatrist for PTSD. And he kept on reliving the incident over and over. You know, they call it desensitization. It doesn't work, right? And, you know, we do the complete opposite. So we've learned from the mistakes of what we've been through and what other people do, to be able to turn their whole lives around really quickly and to heal really quickly. This is all about healing.
Well, I'm super interested to ask you about the process, because I know you get great results. You tend to work with people in the first instance for, you know, 8 weeks. You get amazing results. We've seen the results. We've seen the testimonials. So I want to touch on that. But the question that's really bugging me, and it's probably bugging everybody else watching this, and you may have touched on it, but I want to really hit this on the head, is why is if someone is going through that trauma, that hurts, the pain, whether they're conscious to it or not conscious to it. I think we all know deep down, if we're honest with ourselves, that we've all got these limits we've placed on ourselves from childhood and being teenagers and rejected by friends and being fired from a job here or there. It all affects us and really breaks our confidence and our spirit down, even though we can put on that big mask because, like, you know, I'm amazing. But what I'm just so curious about is, especially when we talk about attraction, I mean, a lot of people are like, but I have this image of being happy ever after and raising a family or starting a business or traveling or, you know, with my quote unquote soulmate or my perfect partner or whatever the language is around that people hold. Is why is it that if someone is damaged, hurt, and broken underneath the surface experience, why are they not attracting somebody who wants to come in and help them heal? Why is it attracting these toxic relationships? Like, wouldn't you think on some level, like, if I'm wanting this beautiful life and that's all I think about, that I'm going to attract this beautiful partner that's what I want? Why do we attract what we don't want? What's the deal there? Why?
One word: programming. Okay, the way we're programmed subconsciously will dictate what we attract. What we happen, you know, we may say to ourselves, I'm a confident person, I'm a loving person, I only attract amazing men, but we attract the opposite. And the reason being is our truth. When we let go of the ego and we pull the ego away and just have the truth is our belief systems. You know, for example, am I worthy? Am I good enough? If you think you're worthy and you're good enough, if you think that you're successful, if you think you're intelligent, if you believe that you love yourself unconditionally, well then, and that is your true belief, fine. But most people will believe or think they believe something, but when we dig down, we actually work out what the real truth is. It's the complete opposite. And the complete opposite, which is generally what they fear about, is what they're actually attracting, because that's the dominant vibration they're putting out. That's the vibration that affects the attraction levels, that affects who you attract or who you don't attract.
Wait. So what you're saying is, like, if I'll use myself as an example. So if I believe at some level that I'm worthy, I'm capable, I deserve everything, I can have anything I want, all the things that I've picked up in books and movies, and, you know, you watch all the romance things on the movies, you know, the love stories. We get told by parents, teachers, peers, leaders, you can have anything you want. Yet we all seem to experience everything that we don't want. What you're saying, what I'm picking up here is, it's one thing to think it, it's another thing to believe it, but it's even deeper to know it. And what I'm hearing is that most people are stuck either on, they're thinking it, they may believe it, but it's not this underlying knowing of complete healing and attraction. Is that accurate?
Yep, 100%. So it's a false sense of security. And that's why we've been saying, I don't understand why I attract all these narcissistic men. I'm a good person, I do this, I do that. But when we dig down and work out the reasons, we show our clients, we get to get them to, we can prove what actually beliefs they have and don't have. Once they realize what their beliefs are, then it makes sense as to, they go, that's why I'm doing it. It's all about finding your truth at the end of the day. And if we don't become accountable and look at our truth, if we really, you know, dig down and who are we, how do we really think about this, and we're not honest with ourselves, well then we're just attracting something completely. Remember, we attract our fears. Our fears become a dominant thought. Now, if we have a fear of attracting more narcissistic men, I'm not worthy, I'll be single for the rest of my life, I'll be alone when I'm older. Well, that's what you're going to attract, because that's your dominant thought and feeling. That's your dominant attraction level. And that's what you keep on attracting. And that's why you stay stuck in that space.
So tell me, please tell me, because I mean, I can really hear this and it's cool. It's so cool. Is, like I said, you guys work with people for 8 weeks on average. If you can break down the steps, how do you do that? How do you take somebody that comes to you and says, you know what, I'm attracting all these toxic relationships, I don't feel great about myself. What's the steps? Like, how do you go from a lifetime of abuse, bad relationships, being single, all that sort of stuff, and how do you flip that switch? How do you do that in 8 weeks? What are the steps that you take people through?
Okay, so we get them out of their conscious into their deep subconscious, because our deep subconscious is 80% of what we attract. Okay, so most people think with their consciousness, and as humans, every day is busy, we must get on with life, doesn't matter what happens, you just got to keep going. So we don't take that time to really understand ourselves and what's going on in our lives. So deep in our subconscious, that's where all the interesting stuff is, why we're attracting what we do attract. So we've got a system where we get into that subconscious and we get them to go through this process and start realizing, and they do this thing, we take them through muscle testing to find out these deep core beliefs, what is going on in their subconscious. And most of the time they're gobsmacked, because they're, oh no, I'm a confident person, or, you know, of course I want an easy, happy life. And when they go through this process, they realize in their subconscious, they don't, due to certain things that have happened in their past. So in a very quick process, within a matter of minutes, we take them through it to release any of that negativity in their deep subconscious. And then we get them to visualize and replace that with a beautiful positive, which then starts changing their deep subconscious, their mindset, and what they start attracting. And their self-love starts growing, their self-worth, and they really become this beautiful woman that they've always wanted to be, but they didn't know what was standing in the way and stopping them from becoming this person.
Perfect. So we identify the problem, we let go of the past, including, you know, the stories we think are true about ourselves. We let go of the attachment to former partners that can often linger with us for years afterwards. We break that connection, and then that frees us up to begin to focus, heal within ourselves, and create the relationships and the partnerships that we're really looking for.
Correct. And the whole process that we're talking about is about healing. It's all about healing. We kind of break it down in all these different areas and come from different avenues, and that's how we get our results. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so I know like people all over the world are watching this, and I know you're both incredibly busy. You've got your hands full. There are so many women that are coming to you on a daily basis. But I do know that you've set aside some time for the women that are watching this particular interview. You told me beforehand, you've set aside maybe 10 spots for ladies who would like to talk to you. Tell them about the process, about what's involved with that and how they can get to talk to you.
Yeah, so what I do is I jump on a call with them, and usually it's a 60-minute call. So it's a proper coaching session. It's not just talk about the weather, it's getting right into the problem. And what I've learned to do very quickly over the years is to go deep very quickly and get into the source of the problem. Why is this happening? We need to understand why. If we don't understand why, how are we going to fix the problem? We need to understand what the problem is. So I go right into it, immerse myself with every single person on the call. And after that, then we start seeing a clear pathway, a strategy on what it is that we need to do to be able to move forward. So yeah, it's an awesome process, and it's life-changing in itself.
So first of all, you'll jump on a 10-minute call with one of our amazing coaches just to make sure that you are the right fit, that it is time to shift, and that we can help you, because there's no point spending 60 minutes of Scott's time when we're flat out helping ladies who are ready to move forward if you're not truly ready. So there is a pre-call with one of our amazing coaches first to just see if you're a good fit for us, and the same vice versa.
And so guys, I want to thank you so much for your time. For those of you that are watching, we will insert a little button on the screen here, and all you need to do is push that button. It'll take you to a calendar page. It'll take you to a quick questionnaire where you can fill that out and give us as much information as possible about what's going on for you. And then one of the coaches from Relationship Warrior, Scotty and Britta's team, will be able to jump on a call with you, figure out what the problem is, and then they'll be able to book you in for a formal session with this man sitting right here and help you identify the root cause of the problem and help you to redefine what your relationship's about. So Scotty and Britta, thank you so much for your time. It's been amazing for me, and I'm sure everyone watching this has got so much out of this. And for those of you that are still watching, go ahead and push that button.
Thanks for having us. Thank you very
everyone.
much.
Remember, there's no time like now to really allow yourself to know that you are worthy of making those shifts and moving forward in every single area of your life. And that's what we're really passionate. We want to do to help you.
Get on a call with me and we'll sort you out.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.